Greetings, brothers and sisters. Some of you know me, some of you don't. But today, while I was watching Brother Dan this morning, this is the second day he seemed like he was really down. And he's not the only person I've seen that's had themselves brought down over passing what everybody's considering a piece of trumpets. I'd like to put a little bit of context in here that should encourage everybody. I'm not very good at this, so you'll have to bear with me. Um, I'd like to go ahead and start by reading Revelation chapter 12. This is verse 1. This is where everybody's been for the last couple of weeks. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. Now that's what we just saw, the big sign that Brother Patrick's brought to our attention. But to think of that as the rapture verse is suspicious. It's odd to me, is what I mean. Because if you read these events, they take place in chronological order. And the rapture occurs in verse 5, where it says, "And she brought forth a male child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne." Now that's the rapture, which means there were two verses that in between what we've just witnessed and then the rapture. Now the two verses we were skipping past are Revelation 12:3 and 4. "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads, and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, who was ready to be delivered, to devour her child as soon as it was born." Now, a lot of people haven't seen that sign in the sky, but it definitely states that it's supposed to appear in the sky the same way that the woman did. Alright, before I go into this though, I would like to give a little bit of context. See, we needed all the signs that we've had now in order to pinpoint where we are located biblically. We've got the Revelation 12 sign that took place in 2017 that showed us what to look for with the woman. And there was another brother who doesn't have a lot of views, he doesn't have a lot of subscribers, so I'm guessing a lot of people haven't seen it, but his channel name is Worship and Watch. He has discovered the Revelation 12:3 sign. He goes into detail, and I will link the video that he's made so that everybody can see this. It's absolutely the Revelation 12:3 sign. So, to go one step further, he then looked up where Nishimura, the comet that Brother Patrick has also brought to our attention, and again, the comet was just discovered last month, so we couldn't have even looked for this thing. And the original Revelation 12:3 sign takes place on 6/24/21. And again, this brother explains it extremely well. But at the dragon's tail, you have Nishimura. That's where it was in 2021. And then you've got the fact that we saw it, and it was a green color, which I'll include some pictures for, and then it changed instantaneously to red. That, to me, is a confirmation, after seeing it at the tail of the dragon, that it is indeed the dragon's tail drawing a third of the stars. That's the next sign we should be looking for. Now, I'd like to draw your attention real quick to Revelation 12:4. It says, "A tail, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, who was ready to be delivered, to devour her child as soon as it was born. Now, this verse has a couple of things that I've noticed. The first is that in Revelation 1, I believe it is. Yeah, Revelation 1:20. The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden lampstands. The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands which thou sawest are the 7 churches. Now, that shows that the Lord uses the term star and angel interchangeably at times. If that's the case, you could reread Revelation 12:4 as, and his tail drew the third part of the angels of heaven and did cast them to the earth. Now we know Lucifer has drawn a third of the angels from heaven. That's what the war is about, the betrayal. So, my guesstimate would be that that's talking about fallen angels, and it says being cast to the earth. They were already cast from the third heaven to the second heaven. Now they're being cast directly to the earth. To me, this reads like what we would call an alien invasion. And then, if you read where it says, the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to be delivered. Now, I'm not sure how many people have had babies as a part of the body. I know there's some younger people, and then there's a bunch of older people, and then people in the middle. But when you're ready to be delivered, that's basically you've dilated all the way, and you maybe even see a crowning happen. And yesterday, if you pull up Stellarium, the child comet who has now exited the womb part of Virgo has just about enough out for the top part of the head. So what I'm guessing is we watch and wait for that child to be completely born, not just as it exits the womb area, but until it's completely almost clear of Virgo. And then you would have the child being born, or her bringing forth a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and to the throne. When that asteroid child is fully born, should be when we are raptured out of here. Now, we take into context that this could be a Jubilee year. A lot of people are talking about it. The math seems to add up, but I've seen it add up before, so take it with a grain of salt. But the moon was originally sighted, to my understanding, on the 16th. And we push all of those back to 10 days to where the Feast of Trumpets, the Days of Awe, and the Day of Atonement would all fall on the 26th of this month. So there's another potentially extremely high watch date. And then, if it's not an alien invasion we're looking for, and it's actually stars that are going to fall, we do have in early October the Draco meteor shower, which can be considered the dragon's tail pulling a third of the stars. So we still have a lot to look forward to. We're not going backwards, family. We're going forward, and we're going forward real quick. There's not going to be years worth of gap this time. This sign is the time clock. When Patrick found it and noticed that the child was there with the child in the womb, it reads in chronological order for Revelation 12:1 through 5. And 5 is our exit, guys. I hope this is able to encourage some of you to hang in there, stick it out. We are really almost done. The Lord is coming. He's coming fast. And He gave us the exact spot in the book where we're at right now. Revelation 12:4, waiting on the stars to fall. Keep your heads up, family. We're going home. Hello again, family. I'm on with another little update as a follow-up to my last video. This one won't be very long. I just want to add a little bit of information that I forgot or that I've worked on since then. The first thing I want to do is show that I have superimposed a picture of a baby into Virgo, roughly about where it would be as far as the birthing process goes. I've averaged the size of a normal woman and then averaged the size of a baby, scaled the baby down to the roughly about the right size, and then put its head where the star child is, as that should be the top part of the baby's head. By using this visualization, you can see exactly where we are with the birthing of the child, the man-child that will be called up to the throne of God. I also mentioned that I was looking at 9/26 as the next high watch date in case the Jubilee year was declared, in which case again I showed that the moon was seen on the 16th, and that moves the feasts down to 10 days later, so that would be the 26th. And then I wanted to include the fact that the Romans had actually added 2 months with January and February, renamed a couple of other months, but that means that the original purpose for September, obviously with the sept at the beginning of it, was to declare the 7th month, meaning that we're actually looking at 7/26. I was really glad to see that everybody else is starting to pick up on Worship and Watch's channel, and I'm just adding this supplemental information so that everybody can get a pretty decent idea of where we're at. Like I said, in Revelation 12:4, we're just waiting on the dragon to draw those stars down, and then we're out of here. Be encouraged, family. We're done. Let's go, Jesus, go. Hey, family. I'm back with another update. I wanted to look into a couple of things. What I ended up doing is pretty similar to what I did the last time I superimposed a baby into Virgo on the different high watch days we've got coming up. I did it on 9/26, which I've talked about personally. Then we have 9/28, which is the harvest moon, and then Dr. Berry talked about that last night, I believe it was. And then I've also done it for the Draconoid meteor shower, as that was, as far as I was concerned, a possibility of the Revelation 12:4 dragon drawing its tail, drawing a third of the stars with its tail. And that I got the dates for on 10/6, which is when it starts, and 10/10, which is when it ends. Another thing I wanted to do was, I remember Brother Dan, and I believe it was Dub07, that had discussed a red dragon that NASA was keeping out of the line of sight. And you couldn't find it on Google Sky or anything else. So I tried a couple of different Stellarium-like programs, and I couldn't locate it either. But I did take the reference from 2015 that we got from Davos, and I placed that after. See, Virgo was a weird constellation. I found people had different versions of it. Like, one of the Stellarium-like programs I used a completely different set of stars for Virgo. I mean, they were the same stars, but just arranged differently. And I noticed that some people do that on Google and whatnot. I looked it up and came up with a couple of different ways people do Virgo, which I've never seen in a constellation. But after I saw what I guess it would be the secondary way Virgo was done, where it's basically 2 straightish legs versus the one goat hoof leg or whatever that is. That was weird. But when I drew the line and then placed the dragon there, you can really see how close the baby is to being devoured by the red dragon. Like I said, I ran through a couple of different dates on that. I did 9/26, then I did 9/29 with the night of the harvest moon, and then I did 10/6, and then 10/10, and then I wanted to see at what point the baby actually exits. And I found out that it's right around the 15th, 16th. You'll notice at the 16th you also have the moon at the woman's feet, and she's still clothed in the sun, kind of. You'll see what I mean with the picture. But then with starting to get that picture, I thought, well, if everything else about Nishimura means something, then perhaps its trajectory also meant something. And Uptime was nice enough to do a live stream a couple of weeks ago where they included the trajectory. And what I did is I put that over top of the picture that I had, and then I rotated it. And you'll notice that the spot where it starts and the spot where it ends, one of them's the tail and one of them's the head. And in this version of it, I made it red to make it really pop, and you can see how close the baby is and where the baby goes towards the dragon, and how that paints the picture of Revelation 12. Like I said, guys, we're just waiting on those stars to fall. So take a look and judge for yourself, man. With everything here, looks really good. Looks like we should be out of here real soon. Let's go, Jesus, go. Keep your heads up. Love y'all.